There comes a point in your journey when things get quiet. No one is cheering. No one is watching. No one is asking how far you've come. It's just you, your routine, your discipline, your choices. Most people struggle with silence. They need noise. They need attention. They need validation. You learn how to grow in silence. You stopped needing approval. You stopped explaining yourself. You stopped waiting for encouragement. You moved anyway. Silence is uncomfortable for weak minds. But silence builds strong ones. Because in silence, excuses become loud. In silence, discipline becomes clear. In silence, you find out who you really are. You didn't run from that. You faced it. In the gym, silence feels heavy. No music loud enough to hide fatigue. No crowd to distract from effort. Just breathing. Just reps. Just focus. That's where you sharpened yourself. You didn't need hype. You needed presence. You learned how to train without distraction. How to push without performance. How to suffer quietly. That created depth. Depth creates power. Anyone can train when energy is high. You can train when everything feels still. You did. You learned how to sit with discomfort. How to stay calm while tired. How to stay focused while bored. That skill transferred to life. You stopped reacting emotionally. You stopped seeking constant stimulation. You became comfortable being alone with your thoughts. Most people escape their thoughts. They scroll. They talk. They distract. You stayed. You listened. You refined yourself. Solitude showed you your weaknesses. It showed you your excuses. It showed you your patterns. Instead of hiding from them, you corrected them. That's growth. You didn't post every workout. You didn't announce every milestone. You didn't seek praise. You worked privately. Private work builds public strength. You respected your process. You understood that not everything needs to be shared. Some battles are meant to be fought alone. Some progress is meant to be silent. You embraced that. You became quiet, not weak quiet. Focused quiet. The kind of quiet that comes from confidence. You stopped proving. You started improving. That shift changed everything. You no longer needed recognition. You needed results. Results come from discipline, not attention. You chose discipline. You learned that solitude isn't loneliness. It's clarity. It removes outside noise. It removes comparison. It removes pressure. All that remains is responsibility. You accepted that responsibility. You showed up without applause. You stayed consistent without praise. You kept standards high when nobody cared. That's integrity. Integrity is who you are when no one is watching. You passed that test. Again and again. Some days felt heavy. Some days felt slow. Some days felt meaningless. You continued anyway. Because you weren't driven by feelings. You were driven by values. Values don't change daily. They stay. You stayed. You stopped needing motivation. You built structure. You stopped chasing excitement. You built routine. You stopped needing people to believe in you. You believed in your actions. Actions don't lie. They show commitment. They show discipline. They show respect. You respected your own word. You said you'd train. You trained. You said you'd stay consistent. You stayed. That self-respect changed how you carry yourself. You walk differently now. You move differently. You speak less. You observe more. You don't rush. You don't panic. You don't react impulsively. You act intentionally. That's power. You learn that silence teaches patience. Solitude teaches focus. Discipline teaches strength. You combined all three. Now nothing shakes you easily. Noise doesn't distract you. Criticism doesn't control you. Praise doesn't inflate you. You stay centered. Because you built yourself in quiet moments. You didn't grow in chaos. You grew in stillness. In early mornings. In late nights. In empty gyms. In long walks. In moments no one will ever see. That unseen work created visible strength. People wonder how you changed. They didn't see the silence. They didn't see the solitude. They didn't see the discipline. They only see the result. But you know the truth. You became strong when nobody was clapping. You became focused when nobody cared. You became disciplined when nobody was watching. That's why your strength feels different. It's grounded. It's calm. It's permanent. You don't need validation. You build self-respect. You don't chase approval. You chase progress. You don't fear being alone. You use it. Because silence is where you sharpen yourself. Solitude is where you rebuild. Discipline is where you rise. Just real strength built in silence. By those who respect themselves enough to keep going alone. Because real growth doesn't need witnesses. It doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need approval. Most of the work that changes your life happens when nobody is watching. Early mornings, late nights, empty gyms, quiet rooms, moments where it's just you and your discipline. That's where real strength is born. Not in loud celebrations, not in public praise. In silence. Silence removes distraction. Silence removes ego. Silence forces honesty. When everything is quiet, you can't lie to yourself. You either show up or you don't. You either push forward or you stop. You learn how to operate without noise. You learn how to move without encouragement. You learn how to keep going without company. That's rare. Because most people need energy from others. They need motivation from crowds. They need validation to feel worthy. You didn't. You respected yourself enough to continue alone. Self-respect doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't complain. It doesn't announce. It simply acts. You acted. Even when no one was watching. Even when nobody cared. Even when quitting would have gone unnoticed. You stayed. That's integrity. Integrity is doing the work even when there are no rewards. Even when there are no compliments. Even when there's no recognition. You didn't chase recognition. You chased progress. Progress happens quietly. You learn to love quiet progress. You learn to trust invisible effort. You stopped posting every step. You stopped explaining every choice. You stopped seeking permission. You focused. You built habits in silence. You strengthened your mind in solitude. You sharpened your discipline away from attention. That's why your strength feels different now. It's not emotional. It's not fragile. It's calm. Because it was built without noise. People often mistake silence for weakness. They think quiet people lack power. They're wrong. Silence is where power collects. Noise leaks energy. Silence concentrates it. You concentrated yours. You didn't waste energy proving yourself. You invested it in improving yourself. You didn't argue with doubters. You outworked them. You didn't explain your vision. You executed it. That's self-respect. Self-respect means you don't need applause to move. You don't need approval to stay disciplined. You don't need validation to stay consistent. You do what needs to be done. Because that's who you are. That identity protects you. It keeps you steady on hard days. It keeps you grounded on good days. You don't rise too high. You don't fall too low. You stay centered. Centered people are dangerous. Because they're not controlled by emotion. They're controlled by purpose. You became purpose-driven. Purpose doesn't scream. It whispers. It guides quietly. You listened. You followed. Even when the path felt lonely. Even when progress felt slow. Even when nobody noticed. You respected your own standards. You honored your own commitments. That built confidence. Not loud confidence. Deep confidence. The kind that doesn't shake when things go wrong. The kind that doesn't fade when motivation disappears. Because it wasn't built on feeling. It was built on action. Action taken alone. Repeated daily.